So just as a quick overview, we talked about the things that you need to have and develop in order to be strong and create $1 million business, right? And it wasn't that like, wow, oh my God, I can't do this, because the truth is that $1 million is just $1 million. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's just a number. And a lot of times we put too much emphasis on that number. And the fun part is this, right? Like, and I'm sure you've heard this before. When you break through and you make your first six-figure income, you're like, wow, this wasn't that crazy. Maybe I can do multiple six figures, right? And so you do 100, and then 250 doesn't sound so crazy. And then you get 250, and then 500 doesn't sound so crazy. And you get 500, 750 doesn't sound so crazy, because you figured out the tactic. You figured out what you need to do. You figured out the path and the method into making that money, right? And when you figure out the path and the method into making that money, then it just becomes consistency that gets you there, right? And so you get all that great stuff forcing into that direction. And so what we talked about was knowledge and skills make you the money, right? And these were the four things: knowledge, skills, motivation, and environment. And we dug down on this a few weeks ago when we were live, and we said that if you build your knowledge and you practice your skills and you learn new skills, knowledge and skills by themselves will make you money, okay? The next level to push you to the next piece is motivation and environment, right? Now, motivation is temporary. Let me explain this, right? Motivation is temporary. And so what we said last week, in order to better understand motivation, if I'm hungry, I'm motivated to eat. If I'm thirsty, I'm motivated to drink water, right? If I'm bored, I'm motivated to do something fun. But what happens when I drink water, eat, or do something fun? I've accomplished that mission. The motivation to do that is gone, right? And so it is our job and our practice. By the way, if you have a camera, go ahead and turn it on, because I like looking at everybody's beautiful faces, okay? So when we get this going, if you turn on the motivation and you know that that motivation is going to help you make a six-figure income, and then you make a six-figure income, and then that motivation's gone, you now have to create a new motivation for yourself, right? Because the motivation will disappear, will dissipate. Now, there's two ways that motivation disappears and dissipates. One is accomplishing the goal and doing the thing, and the other one is quitting on your goal and quitting on the thing, right? And so, a lot of times you'll see folks that are motivated to do really big things, but then they don't accomplish those goals. Why don't they accomplish those goals? They don't accomplish those goals because they don't put in the work. They don't set up the pace. They don't do the work necessary to make sure that they are attacking every single day in a balance to accomplish that particular goal. One of the biggest reasons why most people don't accomplish their goals is because they don't plan appropriately. Right. And so when I come back to, many of you know this, some of you may not, but I wrote a book called The Truth About Failure. Let me see if I grab a copy so you see what it looks like. But I wrote this book called The Truth About Failure, and it's available on Amazon. You can check it out there. If you attend my freedom events, I like to throw a bunch of them into the room to people who participate. So that's a clue. If I come to your town and you participate, chances are you're getting a book, right? So in the book, we talked about the idea of combating the idea of failing forward. And so every time we hear the words fail forward, and we hear Tony Robbins and all these great guys, all these great coaches are going up there, and you're seeing it on social media, it just caught fire like years ago. Like, we need to fail forward. And what we did was we created an entire group of people who believe that they can just go into something, fail at it, and it's okay, that they will learn. And I don't like that mythology. That mythology bothers me because I come from a different world, right? And so the preface of this book, if you open up to the first few pages, and those of you that don't know, I spent 9 years in the United States Marine Corps, right? And so the first page, it says right there, don't even got a page number, right? It's one of the Roman numeral ones. It says the Marine. I'm gonna go ahead and mute everybody so we don't get crazy screams in the background. But the Marine Corps motto is Semper Fidelis, Latin for always faithful. Imagine if the Marine Corps motto was fail forward, how safe would you feel? So if you wouldn't feel safe with the Marine Corps motto as being fail forward, please don't make it your motto, right? Because what are we doing? We're speaking to the universe. We're speaking to the universe, and we're telling the universe, right, that it's okay for us to fail, because the universe is not bilateral. The universe is unilateral. It hears what it hears, and it gives you what you want. If you say, I want money, one day you might get a check back from the electric company because you overpaid your bill, and that check would be for like 6 cents, and you made money. That's what you asked for. You said, I want money, right? So I always tell people the story that when I was a kid, I used to dream of living in a big house with a lot of beautiful women and having really nice cars. And that was my dream as a child. I grew up in the Bronx, rent-controlled apartment. You know what I'm talking about? Like, and on TV, like I was born in the MTV era, right? And hip hop era. Like, that was the dream. Like, wow, one day I'm just going to have a house and all these beautiful women are going to be around me. And the universe heard me. I wasn't specific. I didn't understand it. The universe gave me 4 daughters, a wife, a mother, and a mother-in-law, all live in my house, except for one of my daughters, right? So I'm completely surrounded by beautiful women, just not what I had in mind, right? And so, and I've got a house big enough to fit them all, and they're all comfortable, and they all feed off of me, right? Like, I'm paying for all of them, right? So, you know, it's the same thing, just different, right? And so ideally, what we're saying is you got to be massively specific when you speak to the universe. So we want to get rid of the idea of failing forward. We want to get with the idea of succeed forward. So I ask people, you know, what happened to the days that people used to work for years and years and years and years before they became the master of something, right? What happened to the samurai who could not teach anyone else to be a samurai until he was a samurai for 50, 60, 70 years, right? And his master was 90 years old and could still whoop his butt, right? Like, what happened to the swordsmith that worked under the master swordsmith for 50 years before he was allowed to create his first sword without supervision? What happened to those times? And I'm not saying that we have to come into our industries and work in that industry for 100 years before we can go out and do the job. What I'm saying is that we have to have better preparation. We have to be better prepared for the things that we want to accomplish. If you want to hit your goals, you have to work on preparation. So get rid of fail forward, because the people who are failing forward are going through multiple failures all the time, trying to learn a lesson, when a lot of times you could simply learn a lesson by having an open mind and reading a few books and having a few mentors and hiring a great coach, and you will get through to your goal way faster than anybody who's crashing through brick walls trying to get there. Don't give yourself brick walls. Don't create brick walls for yourself. Move them out of the way. Learn how to walk around them. Learn how to climb them and go over them. Learn those skills, and then you'll be in the next place, right? So I'm not going to beat that horse dead. We're going to dig right into this. How do we prepare for the goals that we want? We have to have a plan of attack. We have to have a business plan in place, right? We have to do things that are just going to put us in position through skill, knowledge, consistency, and effort, right? All right, so I'm going to move this out the way. And the last thing we talked about is environment. And obviously, having a strong environment to work from, having a strong environment to live in, having people in your life that help you succeed is an answer that you really, really need to have. If there are people in your life that you feel often grab at your ankles every time you're stepping up to the plate, it's time to kick those fools off, okay? It's time. It's time. If they're supposed friends, they shouldn't be holding you down. Now, sometimes it's our own families. Sometimes it's our partners. Sometimes it's our parents, right? They're the ones trying to hold you down. You need to put one arm's distance between you and them so that you can accomplish your goals. I'm not telling you to get rid of the relationship with your mom and dad. What I'm telling you is that maybe you don't have business conversations with them at the dinner table, right? Maybe you don't visit them in the middle of a busy day. Maybe you only spend time with them when work is not on your mind and all that stuff is not on your mind, right? That's the focus, that's the plan, that's the win, that's the attraction. Okay. Now, there's a part in my presentation where we say if you can change your environment, you can change your pace of success, right? If you can change your environment, you can change your pace of success. Because you could read any book out there that talks about this, but I think it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad that said, if you want to know the average income that you will earn in the next 12 months, find out what the incomes are of the 5 closest people to you and average it out, and that will be your average. The 5 people that you spend the most time with, find out what their incomes are, average it out, that's your next 12 months income, right? Because it's very hard to surpass that. It's much easier to be around people that are way above you and understand that you're learning from them, that they're mentoring you, that they're teaching you, that every conversation you get a takeaway from, and you get to level up your life and business. Okay. Now,
David, I got a question.
What's up?
If the people you hang out with are your family and they don't make money, then you're stuck. Right?
Don't be trying to get me in trouble with your wife, Juan. I know
No
what you're
problem.
doing to me right now. I know what you're doing to me right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, Juan in a Million, very good friend of mine, Army vet. Happy Veterans Day, by the way.
Thank you.
Um,
Same.
so let's dig into this real quick. If we know that we have to plan, well, that's one thing. But we also know that if we're going to plan, we have to turn that into action, because action provides you results. That we know. It's not a secret. This is the thing right here. So the reason that I start with this is because there are so many folks out there that are master planners, right? All they do is plan, plan, plan. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to build this. I'm going to create this, right? Like when I tell you that I am going to tour the United States next year, and I'm going to hit 15 cities with my coaching program. That's a 3 to 4 hour program. It's a 4 hour program currently. We're going to dumb it down to 3. Not dumb it down. I hate to say it like that, but we're going to cut it down to 3, right? And so when I tell you that we are going to hit 15 cities, I'm telling you that there is a plan already going in place for this, right? There is a plan already in place for this, right? Jaime says, I'm broke because I am with my kids. I love it. Listen, that's our own fault. I got 4 kids. I get it. Trust me. Okay. And some of mine are grown, so their requests are significantly bigger than the little ones, right? All right. So we get this and we go, all right, plan, action, results. You can't be a master planner, but you can be a master planner as long as you understand that you have to take action on the plan that you create. You can't just say things like, I want to do this and I want to do that. You have to say things like, I will do this and I will do that. I will make 6 figures. I will make multiple 6 figures. I will make a 7-figure income, right? And then you have to put a plan in place to make that happen. Okay. Juan said something. He goes, if you don't have a plan, then you are planning to fail. Right? We've all heard that before. Okay. Now, if we come up with a great plan, we know that we can take massive action on it, which is the harder part. Today, we're going to talk about going through the plan. The one thing that I can't do is force you to take action. I can't do it. Right? I can't do it, which is funny because that's literally the name of my second book. Right? So I can't help you do it. I can't force you to do that. I can't make you do that. The only way that anyone could make you do it is if you hire them as a coach and now you're held accountable. If you don't have a coach, you're forced to hold yourself accountable. And you have to be very good at that. You have to be able to look in the mirror, and if you didn't do what you were supposed to do, get really pissed off at yourself. Like, I give you permission to look in the mirror and look at yourself and go, oh, can't stand you right now because I need to go do this work. And give yourself permission to win. Give yourself permission to succeed. right? And then we know that if we take the proper actions, we find massive results. It's not even just results, it's massive results, right? The people who don't get massive results, I'll tell you exactly what they're doing. They're doing piss poor planning. They're falling on action by accident, which gives them mediocre results. We've heard this 100 times, the accidental realtor, right? The one that trips and falls on a deal because they happen to be at the right place at the right time, and they mention the word real estate, and all of a sudden somebody gives them a deal. Or somebody says, oh yeah, I'm looking for a house, and they go, cool, let's go looking this Saturday, right? That's mediocre. And none of us here are trying to be mediocre, okay? So I'm gonna go through something with you guys that it's a very simple thing. It's known as the 1-3-5, okay? And we're gonna go through one example, and I'll explain it to you little by little, okay? So now, what is the 1-3-5? First, the one. The one is your big goal. And what are we getting into right now? We're getting into planning, okay? I can talk about business planning for 2025. I can do all this stuff, but planning is a year-round thing. Yes, sometime in October, November, you should sit down and you should plan for the upcoming year, okay? 100%. I get that. However, this plan is going to be fluid. It's going to be liquid. It's going to be understandably based upon the things that happen in your life, because no matter how well you plan, life happens. It's just going to happen, and you're going to have to get fluid, right? Okay, so you've got one big goal, and you're going to create 3 priorities that will help you achieve that one goal. So 3 priorities, or three priorities that help you achieve that one goal, okay? And then what is 5? 5 are the 5 action steps for each priority, right? This is how we plan. Now, here's the cool part about this. You can have as many big goals as you want for next year, okay? And these big goals could be whatever you want them to be. I want to make $150,000 next year, right? I want to sell 25 properties next year, right? It's still a big goal, but you didn't put a financial thing to it. Everybody thinks differently, right? I want to buy my first sports car next year. I want to invest in 2 investment properties next year. I want to buy a business next year. I want to raise my income by 30% next year. Whatever it is, they're your big goals. And by the way, some of those will be multiple big goals, and some of them will intertwine with each other, right? So if I say, I want to buy my first sports car next year, I have to associate another goal to that and say, I need to make X amount of dollars next year, right? Because you can't buy the Lambo on $100,000 income, right? You could, but you would look like a fool living in your mom's basement driving a Lambo, right? So we go like this, one big goal. So let's make this financial, because hello, we all got into real estate to make money, right? Let's be real. I know some of you got into real estate because you want to help families achieve the American dream. That also comes with money. All right. So I don't think anyone on this channel tuned in so they can learn how to do their job for free. Okay. All right. So I'm going to pull up my calculator because I want to have this in place here real quick. Okay. So let's say our big goal is we want to make $150,000, right? If you want to make or surpass $150,000 next year, go ahead and type yes in the chat box. I want to see how many of y'all are trying to make a 6-figure. It's 150 or more next year. Put it in the chat box. Yes or no? Nice. And if you're feeling froggy, type in what you want to make. There you go. Juan beat me to it. Yes, 250. Right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm with Juan. I'm driving right now, Coach, and I can't chat, so I'm just gonna speak it.
No worries, 250 it is, man.
Okay, right? I'm driving too. I'm driving too. I'm gonna up it. I'm gonna up it to 350.
350. There you go. I'm loving it, man. To me, it's 250. Joseph, 100K, you still poor. That is true in a lot of cities. That is true. But you know, I had a coaching session yesterday with somebody in Northeast Louisiana where the average price point is still under 200,000, and I was like, you know what I mean? So 100K really puts you on top of the charts there. And you know, I was in Puerto Rico last weekend. If I made 100K in Puerto Rico, I've been living a good life. Dominican Republic, hey, listen, we're winning, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends where you go, what you're doing, right? But you're right. In a lot of major US cities, at 100K, you're still poor. And that's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. I remember when the goal was to make 100K. All right, so let's play with this real quick. Let's do, I think the average on here is about 200 from what I'm seeing. There's 250, 150, 200, 250, 200, 250. Those are the numbers I'm seeing. Okay, cool. So I'm going to come in here. Let's go 200K. My big goal is I want to make 200K next year. Okay, everybody cool with that, right? All right, so let's do this. The next thing I want you guys to type in the chat box is what your average sales price in your market area is. What's your average sales price in your market area? Type it in there.
650 grand.
All right, somebody type that in there for him because he's driving. All right, so I'm looking. I got 350, 650, 650, 339, 455, 550. Man, you guys live in some good areas. 550. I got 455. What else we got? 450, 550. This is awesome. All right, so based on these numbers, carries at 350. All right. So based on these numbers, we're going to do a 500K average. Okay. If it's lower for you, then you know how you got to change the math. If it's higher for you, then you know where the math goes. All right. But we're going to play this game, right? If I need to make 200K next year, okay? If I need to make 200K next year, okay? My number one priority, I mean, there's 3 priorities that we have to have because it's a 1-3-5. So help me out. I'm going to give you the first priority. First priority is I need to know number of units to move. Okay? Now, this is when I give you the opportunity to unmute yourself, right? Because we can go to the chat box, but unmute yourself if you're there. Give me another priority that I have to focus on to make 200K. Give me another priority.
You got to up your network.
Okay, go ahead.
Joseph, go ahead.
You have to up your network so you can sell less houses for more money.
All right.
With a better network of people buying more expensive houses.
Yeah, in my case, I'm a mortgage broker, so I just have to make more calls, make more appointments.
All right. So calls and appointments are action steps.
Okay.
Right? Calls and appointments are action steps. Let's look at priority. Priority number 1 is know the number of units I got to move. I got to know that. I got to figure that out, right? And then priority number 2 is level up my network, right? So what would be another priority, guys? What would you think would be another priority for this?
Create content based on the homes you want to sell and the price
Marketing.
point you want to work.
All right, so we're going to level up our marketing. Okay, so now let's do this. We've got 3 priorities that I know I need to focus on in order for me to achieve this $200,000 income balance, right? Okay, so now first thing is how many homes do I need to move? Let's figure out the unit count, right? So this is the way we're going to do it. Let's move away from here real quick. I need to make 200K. My average price point is 500K, right? So average price, income. Now I need to figure out my average commission earned. Okay, What do you guys type it in the chat box? What are you guys actually earning out there lately? Is it 3? Is it 2.5? Is it 2? What are you guys seeing in the market in your market area? Type it in the
2.5.
chat.
3, 312 in Florida, in some areas.
Depends on if I'm the listing agent or if I'm the buyer's agent.
Got you on that. Yeah, same for me. I got you.
It's 3%. It's 3% and a transaction fee if I'm the listing agent, and it's whatever I can negotiate in the buyer's agent.
Yep, that's what it is. All right, so here we go. I got 2, 2.5, 3, 2.75, 3, 2.5 with an occasional 3, 2.75 on the MLO side. I got you. Okay. So let's look at these numbers. All right, so let's play this at a 2.7 if it's okay with you guys. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. We got a 500,000. So we're gonna write average commission 2.7%. Okay, because we know on the listing side we can control everything, and we'll talk about that in a second, right? And then on the buy side, now we have to negotiate. Okay, not only are we negotiating with the selling side, but we're also negotiating with our buyers now in the new and improved world we live in real estate. So if I take 500K and I get a 2.7% income, I'm making $13,000, $13,500 on each transaction. $13,500 on each transaction. This is easy math right here. I got to make $200,000. I'm going to divide that by 13,500, which gives me 14.8 homes. Let's just change that because I can't sell 0.8 of a home. All right. So we're going to do 15 homes. Here's the fun part. We come back here and we go numbers of units I need to move. 15. Now we're going to go action steps. Let's look at the action steps that I know I need to make to move 15 homes. And by the way, just so you guys can really get some excitement with this, if I go 15 homes divided by 12 months, telling me I need to move 1.25 homes a month. What does that mean? That means that for 3 months, I can sell just 1 house. And on the 4th month, I got to move 2. And then for 3 months, I can move 1 house. And on the 8th month, I got to move 2. And that will help me hit $200,000 in income. It's 1 home a month, man. What are we talking about here? Right, guys? Like, think about this, man. The average real estate agent across America moves 4 homes a year. I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, with proper planning, effort, and control and consistency, you can do 1 a month. Absolutely. No doubt in my mind. Right? So if I got 15 homes I got to move, that's 1.25 per month. Okay? So I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to say, I got these priorities. Know the number of units I got to move. 15 for the year. Let's put year there. Okay? Now, I'm going to come up with 5 action steps. They're going to help me sell 15 homes a year. Okay? 5 action steps that'll help me sell 15 homes a year. Go ahead and participate with me, guys. Give me 1 action step that will help me sell 15 homes a year.
Call my database.
Cool. Call. Personal database. And we'll talk about this as an SOI and a Power 8. Okay. All right.
Client.
Next thing, guys.
Call past
What else?
client.
Past clients. Cool. Communicate. Past clients. Cool. Give me a third.
Open houses.
Perfect. Host open houses. Okay, give me a fourth.
Content.
Cool. Content creation.
Drip
What
campaigns.
drip
Farmer,
campaign? We're gonna call
farm,
it. We're gonna call that automation, right?
farmer search and a website to see searching for farmers areas.
Yep, have a farm area, right? So we're gonna put farm area over here because we're gonna talk about that in a little bit of a different sequence. Okay. So now
Be
if you
specific
see,
in who your clients will be.
that would be a farm area, right? So
Yeah.
let's talk about farm real quick, right? When we talk about farm, we don't necessarily have to tie that. And a lot of times we tie that to a geographical area. That's not necessarily true. When we talk about a farm market that we market to, that we pitch to, it could be a type of people, it could be a market area, it could be geographical, it could be demographical, right? So I might say, because I spent 9 years in the United States Marine Corps, I might say my target market, my avatar, and my farm are veterans in my area, right? And so that might be my farming market. That's my
Cool.
target audience. That's my avatar, right? You might say, I live in 123 Main Street, and within 3 miles of me, there are 400, 500, I don't know, 1,000 homes, okay, depending on how dense your area is. And out of those 1,000 homes, the average price point is 750,000. So I am going to target market this area, which means that now within these 3-4 mile radius is my farming area. So farming and understanding the method of farming could be, again, geographical or demographical. Okay. Now, let's come back to these 5. Call my personal database, right? So now we understand that in order for me to have the 200K, my big goal, I need to move 15 homes in my farm area or farm people, right? And 5 action steps that I could take are to call personal database, communicate with past clients, host open houses. I'm going to put a slash here, host open houses and events. And we'll talk about that in a second. Content creation or social media management. Okay. And then automation. Now, I'm going to give you a theory that it's not a theory, it's a proven theory that I've been pitching, coaching, and talking about for a decade. And I want you guys to really take this, and I'm going to give you a little political view on what just happened in America. But trust me when I tell you, this is not a politics conversation. So don't post anything in the chat about who you voted for. Okay. I don't want to know. All right. But what I'm going to say is this. Calling your personal database, your sphere of influence, your Power 8 is a personal connection. Communicating with past clients is a personal connection. Hosting open houses and events makes you meet people. That's a personal connection. Content creation and social media management is not a personal connection. It is the cherry on top of personal connections. Okay? Automation is not a personal connection. It is the attempt to have a personal connection. All right. So, and I want to explain this why. Recently, you saw the news. Kamala Harris raised $1.6 billion and she's now $20 million in debt. Where did the money go? Doesn't matter. But where she spent the majority of her money was on TV, commercials, celebrities, and social media, right? Because the theory is now in the world that if you have influencers and you have a great social media presence, you will make a shit ton of money. This is not always the truth. This is the minimal of people. For example, the Trump campaign ran in the complete opposite. He's much older than her. So he went with the old school stuff, the door knockers, the phone callers, those guys, right? And he was able to spend $365 million, significantly less, but they focused on having personal connections. They focused on meeting people face to face, right? And I only bring it up because it just is the latest, largest example of how a personal relationship changes the game. And I'm telling you this because I want you to understand this. Every piece of content that you create is for you to create engagement with a community. But that engagement has to force you into a phone call or a meeting. It has to, right? And there may be stages to it. That content may lead to a direct message. That direct message may lead to a conversation. That conversation may lead to a phone call. And every single phone call you make should lead to a meeting, personal, in front, one-on-one. All right? So calling your personal database, simply calling them and only calling them is not enough. Calling them and tapping into them and understanding what their needs are and getting in front of them is what you need to focus on. So when I tell you this, if you call 5 people from your personal database every single day and have 5 successful conversations, you will see that those conversations, or you need to understand that those conversations need to lead to some type of meeting. If they say they're interested in real estate business, then you go talk to them about real estate business, whether that be a buyer consult or a seller listing presentation. However, if they're not interested in any real estate business currently or at the moment, you need to go have a cup of coffee with this person. This is where you create that massive trust with people. This is where you get in front of people. And this is how you dominate any market area in any sales business. This is it right here. Okay? So again, I want to explain to you that every phone call you make should lead to some type of appointment, some type of meeting, some type of connection, right? And at that meeting, you get to dig in more on them, their lives, their business, their focus, what they do, so that you can then, at the end, pitch them on what you do without overwhelming them in an entire 45-minute coffee meeting on all your cool real estate shit. No one cares. They only care about the problem that you can solve for them, right? And so the theory is, if they have a problem and I provide them a solution, then I've given them value. If I've given them value, they will pay me for value. And if they pay me for value, they will give me what's known as the R&R, which is developing the relationship and the referral. And why do I bring the referral this way? Because that person, that referral that they give you, is going to come to you with a problem that you will provide a solution for, that will prove your value, that they would be willing to pay for, and then they will give you a referral and relationship in return. This cycle right here is the win. And every time you move through this cycle, you level your business by 3. Here's what I'm telling you. Every time you move a person through this cycle successfully, they have a problem. You have a solution. You provide them with value. They pay you for it. And then you focus on developing a relationship and earning referrals from them. They will send you 3 referrals. That is the average per person. 90% of people that bought a home or sold a home said they would absolutely 100% use their real estate agent again. They love them. Only problem is that 80% of those people could not remember their agent's name. That is a horrible, horrible statistic. Why? Because that agent found the problem, solved it, showed value, made some money with them, and then treated them like a transaction and never developed a relationship with them. So therefore, they were never able to earn the referrals. That's the win right there. That R&R piece right there is the piece you can never, ever, ever forget. Okay? So we come back here and we go, call your personal database, fire, power. You already know what that is. Communicate with your past clients. That's your R&R. That's developing the relationships and earning the referrals. Host open houses and events. Let's tap into this, right? Because now what we're doing is we know the 5 action steps, but now we need to know what we're going to do for those 5 action steps, right? And so we go, okay, host open houses and events. But Dave, I don't have listings. Cool. Call people in your company that are close by to you that have a listing and ask them if you can host an open house at their listing. You would be 100% surprised how many real estate agents do not want to stand in a house for 4 hours showing it. But if you need business, this is a very good way to go get it, right? This past weekend, my team captain, Rosie, hosted her own open house. She had 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 unrepresented buyers come through the house. Those are 3 new buyers that she is now running through the pre-approval process. And one of those might actually buy that house, which means that she'll get both sides of the deal. Right? Okay, so when we know this is the win right here. Okay? Hosting open houses again. And by the way, if no one in your company lives in the market area that you're trying to attack, call somebody else from another company because they don't want to do it either. So go do it for them. Dominate the market by taking control of the laziness that these agents have out there. Take advantage of it, okay? Events. Let's talk about events. If you're focusing on a particular niche, on a particular market, on a particular farm, right? What can you do to host events? One event idea is your past client appreciation event, right? Reach out to all your past clients for the however long you've been in the business and give them a client appreciation event. Show them a good time. Bring them out. Reconnect with them. Let them meet each other. Let them network with each other. They all have one thing in common. You were their amazing agent. And invite them to a nice little event, a holiday get-together. That's another great event to have. But you know what's an even more solid event? Hosting quarterly market update events in your local area. That is the most killer event that you can do. It is not a fast, immediate return. It is a long-term play that makes you dominant in whatever market you're trying to do. So if you are focused on US veterans, once a quarter, you should have a database of veterans that you invite to an event that you serve coffee and bagels at, where they can learn what's happening in the real estate market, what's new with the VA, what are ways that they can dominate with using the VA loan, how can they use the VA loan to house hack and invest, okay? And maybe even bring in an expert that understands disability ratings and teach them how to get a disability rating that will give them a discount on their home taxes. That is a crazy dope event that you can host once a quarter. All right, Dave, that's not my thing. I like my 3-4 mile radius with my 1,000 homes. Awesome. Once a quarter, door knock that entire daggone neighborhood like this. Knuckles on fucking doors, okay? Door knock that neighborhood and give them a flyer and say, I'm hosting an event at a local restaurant or a local event space or whatever it is that you want to rent. Listen, some of these event spaces are $300 for 2 hours, dude. It's nothing. And what you spend on bagels and coffee, you could get a lender, partner, sponsor to come do for you. Okay? And so what we're doing, what are we saying, right? We bring them out once a quarter and we tell them, this is what's happening in the real estate market. This is what's happening with the buyer pool. This is what's happening with the prices of the homes in this area. And here's the bonus. If they come, you will give them a free market analysis on their home. What? Can you imagine when somebody walks in through the door and they say, hey, I'm here for the event, and the person that you have there helping you says, sure, what's your name? And the name is, I'll use Richard Pierce. My name's Richard Pierce. Great. And they look through the files and they go, here, Richard, here's the market analysis on your home. So while they sit down to hear what you have to say about what's happening in the area, they are now seeing the price of their home. How much business do you think you can gain from doing this once a quarter? Once every 3 months for the same houses, the same community, the same people. This is dominating your market space. This is it, right? Okay. Moving on, content creation, social media management. I'm big on social media. If you guys follow me on Instagram, that's my safe space, okay? I've got Twitter or X or whatever it is, it's X. I've got TikTok, I've got LinkedIn, I've got Facebook, but Instagram is like my safe space. And so my Instagram feeds my Facebook and my team handles everything else, okay? I might jump into TikTok to post one little thing to see what works or what doesn't work, but that's not my safe space. My safe space is Instagram. Whatever your safe space is, dominate and market that particular safe space and work it. Work it like there's no tomorrow, okay? And so what we're saying is content creation and social media management has to be a massive, consistent thing. Now, let me give you a clue. Remember earlier when we were saying that if you sit down for coffee with a friend for 45 minutes and all you talk about is your real estate business and I go, nobody cares, it's the same thing on social media. If your entire social media page is just listed, just sold, all you're saying is look at me and look how cool I am. But if you add your personal life into it, this should be like a 60-40 thing. 40% your business, 60% your life. You go to the gym, post it. You go to eat dinner, post it. You have pets, post them. You got a spouse, a family, kids, they play volleyball, they play baseball, they play basketball, post it. Some folks say, Dave, I don't want to post my kids. Cool, no problem. Safety reasons. I get it. That's okay, right? But let me tell you something. The two most viewed photos on social media, number one, pets, your dogs. Dogs, number one. Dogs actually come before kids, okay? Number two, kids. Number three, food, right? Every time somebody takes a picture of their cool crab cake that they just got at a really expensive restaurant that cost them $18 for one crab cake, right? Post that baby. Let the world know who you are as a person. Interestingly enough, many people stay away from two major subjects. We know what those major subjects are: politics and religion. Everybody stays away from that big time. It's like the taboo, right?
Right.
Then I had a mentor one time tell me, why would you stay away from the two main things that are most discussed in the country? And I said, well, that's not something I want to dig into. That's not something I want to do. That's not something I want to focus on. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. I don't want to get into a fight with people. I don't want to lose people, is what I said. I don't want to lose people, right? And you know what his answer was? For every person that you lose based on their ideology, you'll gain 3 more people that didn't know what your ideology was before and are now more attracted to you. Now, I'll leave that with you. That's where I'm going to end that. That's up to you. If you want to go political crazy on your social media, that's on you, okay? But people want to know who you are. They want to know if they can relate to you. They want to know that if you're going to help them transfer the largest asset they will more than likely ever own, that they can actually communicate with you, they can talk to you, and they'll feel safe with you. It comes down to the know, like, and trust. So when you're doing content creation, a lot of times you're doing content creation to attract the people that are not yet having a relationship with you, right? And then the other part is that for the people that do have a relationship with you, content creation is designed to remind them of who you are all the time. Then we tap into automation. Now, I'm really, really in love with the idea that we live in a world where we can set up, okay, that we can set up things that happen by themselves. So when we say reach out to these past clients, the only thing that the automation can't do for you is make the phone call and have the relationship content conversation. And here's the crazy part. There are AIs now that will have phone call conversations with people. But your sphere of influence and your past clients, they know who you are, so you can't drop them on that. The other thing that can't happen is you can't send the AI to go have a cup of coffee with somebody or do your listing presentation for you, right? You can't do it. Not yet, maybe in 10 years, but not yet, right? And so understanding this, automation is one of my favorite things. Putting a past client on consistent automation where they're getting consistent emails all the time on that 1 month anniversary, on that 3 month anniversary, on that 6 month anniversary, on that 9 month anniversary, on that 12 month anniversary, on that 18 month anniversary. They're getting an email and a text message. Hey, congratulations on your month anniversary, right? Congratulations, you've owned your home for half a year. I like using different words, not 6 months, but you've owned your home for half a year. Right? Now you've owned your home for a year. Now you've owned your home for a year and a half. You've been in your home for 2 years. That's 14 years in dog years, right? Like, just have fun with these things. Make them personal. Make them have fun. Automation on email campaigns where you're going to email people consistently, right? There is a theory, a proven theory, that the sale is made in the email. So when you meet somebody new and you have the first conversation with them and they're not ready, and you put them on a campaign where they get consistent emails from you all the time, that's going to help you make the sale. That's going to help you stay consistently with them and in front of them. That's going to help you when you pick up the phone to call them and check up on them as often as you do, that they would have seen your name so many times already that they tap into this, and they see your name, they decide they must pick up because they see you all the time. Here's another tip on email campaigns. Don't make, just like social media and just like conversations, don't make every email about real estate. You send 3 emails that have nothing to do with selling them, and you send 1 email about selling them. Then 3 more emails about not selling them, then 1 email about selling them. What does that mean? If a new restaurant opens up in a local neighborhood, send an email about that. If a policy changes, send an email about that. If you went through an event with a client the other day and it was impressive enough to educate the community, send an email about that. And then on your 4th email, say, I want to be your real estate agent. I want to work with you. How do we make that happen? How can I be the focal point of real estate for you, your family, your friends, and your influence? How do we make that happen? Right? And so for every 4 emails, make 1 about selling them. Okay? So 3 not selling, 1 selling. What else is good in automation? Now you have systems that do automated text messages. So here's the fun part. You could send an email and then send the text at the same time that says, hey, I just shot you a very interesting email about a new restaurant that opened up. You think you get a better open rate at that point? Hell yeah. How crazy is that? How amazing. What kind of opportunity could we expect there? We're staying in constant communication, constant communication, constant communication. Is that automated message going to come from a different phone number? Yes, you can't use your regular cell phone number to make that call or that automation happen. When people ask about it, you say, oh, that's another phone number that I have that I use for my business. You could always text back at that number if you want to, because your automated systems should have the opportunity to receive as well. And you should be monitoring that in a CRM. Right? Now, why am I giving you so much information on the action steps? Because when you sit down and you do your 1-3-5, when you sit down and focus on this, by the way, you might have 5 big goals for next year. So you go through the same exact process for each and every one of those goals. Okay? You go through the same process. If you want a sports car next year, you go, you know what? I'm going to get myself a Lamborghini next year. That's my goal. I'm going to do it by this time. Let's say September 2025, I will have a Lamborghini in the driveway. What are the 3 major priorities that you need to achieve to hit that Lamborghini? And then for each of those priorities, what are the 5 action steps you need to take? And here's the fun part. You know what they are. You've planned it. As long as you do it, as long as you make it happen, right? Then you will hit your goal. You'll have that Lamborghini in the driveway. The only thing, there are 2 things. There are only 2 things that will obstruct your opportunity for having that Lamborghini. One, big life event. Could be a death, could be a birth, could be a divorce, could be a marriage, could be a new baby, could be a million things. Big life event. Does it mean that it's gone? No, it means that it pushes from September to another time frame. But here's the more permanent one. You don't do the work. That's the only other thing that will stop you from achieving the goal. Right here, I showed you how to make 200K with an average sales price of 500,000 and an average commission of 2.7%. If you want to make 400, then you know you got to move 30 homes at that price point. Or you might sit down and do your plan and you might say, hey, you know what? I want to make 400, but I don't want to move 30 homes. I want to move 15 homes. And your adjustment's going to be that your price point can't be 500. It's going to be $1 million. This is how you do it. You get to play with the numbers now, not later, not in the process of making it happen. Don't practice your business plan on people. Practice your business plan on paper. Put it together, make it work. If you got only 2 big goals, if you have 5 goals, if you got 10 goals, you go through the same exact process. And then the final stage of all of this is to calendar everything. What do I mean by that? Well, if I know I got to call my sphere of influence, I need to understand how many of them I need to call, how many conversations I need to have per day. And then I need to schedule on my calendar every single day a certain time frame to do that. And then if I know that the goal of the meeting or the goal of the call is to have a meeting, I need to put space in my calendar where I allow myself to go have listing appointments, buyer presentations, or coffee meetings. And maybe there's 2 sections in my day that I allow that, right? And then if I know that I need to show houses and stuff, I need to block certain times in my day that I'm allowed to go show houses. Notice that I said that I'm allowed to go show houses because I am my own boss and I'm giving myself permission to show houses, which means that if from 9 to 11 in the morning, I am tasked with making phone calls to my sphere of influence, my Power 8, my past clients, and maybe new leads that I buy from a system. And that's what I'm doing from 9 to 11. And somebody calls me and says, I'd like to see this house tomorrow at 10 a.m. My answer is, I'm sorry, I'm booked at 10 a.m., but can we do 2 p.m.? Because if I allow somebody else to dictate my schedule, all of a sudden, I'm not making the calls I'm supposed to make. And if I'm not making the calls I'm supposed to make, then I can't get the meetings. If I can't get the meetings, then I can't get the business or the referral. If I can't get the business or the referral, I can't get a client. If I can't get a client, I can't get a contract. If I can't get a contract, I can't get paid. And if you hold yourself strict to this, if you hold yourself strict to this, hold on, Juan. If you hold yourself strict to this, you have to know that if you hold yourself strict to it and you do the job and you do the task and you accomplish the mission, you will hit your big goals. You will hit them. Again, there's only 2 things that are going to stop you. Big life event will shift the goal. It won't stop the goal. It will shift the goal. Maybe it doesn't happen September of this year. Maybe it happens June of next year. The only thing that stops it is not doing this. The action. The actual action steps required to make it happen. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the simplest, most effective way to put a business plan together, put it in writing, transfer it completely to your calendar, know what needs to be done every single day, every single time. Never, ever, ever again wake up not knowing what to do next. Never, ever, ever wake up again not knowing what to do for work, for your life, for your business. It's like if you say, my goal next year is to lose 30 pounds. If that's your goal for next year, put a plan in place on how you will lose 30 pounds. What are the 3 priorities? Change my diet, go to the gym, stop eating out, right? Like that could be that. All right, come up with a plan of attack. How's it going to happen? Transfer it to your calendar. When are you going to go to the gym? What type of gym are you going to go to? What are you going to accomplish? Are you going to lift weights? Are you going to do Pilates? Is it a yoga thing? Like, Dude, the choice is yours. The plan is yours to create. You just have to go do it. Right? What's up, Juan?
Hey, allow you, you're not going to always make 2.75 on every loan, right? On every transaction. So allow yourself a margin of error, for those 15 loans. But sometimes I have to lower my price point. It's not always going to be 15 loans. You're going to have to.
All right, so I'm going to stop you right there. Never, ever, ever will I tell people to allow themselves a margin of error, because when I tell people to allow themselves a margin of error, you know what they do? They give themselves the opportunity to slack. So if 15 loans ain't going to cut it because you had to lower your commission 2 times in Q1, then you know you need to add another loan to the file. So it's not going to be 15 anymore. Remember, in the beginning of this session, I said this entire plan is fluid. It's designed for you to adjust. It's designed for you to speed up the current or lower the current. It's designed for you to ride the wave or crash into the wave. It is yours to be fluid with, because life's going to happen and things are going to change and you're going to have to adjust. So if I do 2 deals that have me at 2% a pop, then I know that I might need to make up 2%. And if I need to make up 2%, that means I need to add another deal to the year, which means that if I'm currently at the pace to do 15, instead of doing 1 deal, 1 deal, 1 deal, and then 2, I need to do 1 deal, 2, and 2. I got to add another deal to make it happen. And that's where the fluidity comes in. But if I tell myself from the very jump, from the very beginning, to allow myself a margin of failure, a margin of error, a margin of mistake, then I'm already giving myself permission to slack. I'm already giving myself permission to say, well, I only got 2% on these 2 deals. So you know what? I'm not going to make 200. I'm going to make 180. It's not okay. Here's the cool part, though. If you do everything you're supposed to do, and your goal is to make $500,000 this year, but you only make $472,000, and that's still significantly more than you made the year before, you still did great. It's not a failure, and it's not the end of the world. You have now an opportunity to sit back and understand where those $20,000, or I'm sorry, I don't know what number I gave, $27,000, where that escaped you. And you get to understand that better, and you get to do it again next year. Except next year you give yourself a $600,000 or a $700,000 goal, because you're already at 472. So why not? Right? And now you know that when you hit those levels, you're leveraging people, you're leveraging staff, you're leveraging agents, you're leveraging your business, you're expanding your portfolio, you're moving into new places, maybe you're building a referral base, you're doing things different to help you push and succeed to the next level. Okay? All right, I'm going to go through some of the comments. Let me see what I can see. Somebody typed webinar. Yes, you can host webinar events. That falls under events, right? You can host webinar events, first-time home buyers, things of that nature. Run ads for, like, spend $200, $300, $400 on running ads in your local market area. That you're going to host this very cool, 100% free live webinar, and it's going to be hosted by experienced real estate professional, experienced lender, experienced title rep. You bring them all into the webinar. You create a panel, and you teach people how to buy a home in this market. And then you give them your information so they can call you and do it better, right? Juan says a beer and a cigar. I'm down for the cigar. I never, ever, ever call my sphere of influence and take them out to drink unless we're just going to have fun. It's my personality, my persona. My thought process is, if my intention is to develop a relationship with this person for business purposes, we're going to have coffee. If my intention is to just focus on the relationship and have a good time, then let's go have a scotch. All right. What if you don't have a lot of past clients? You have to create them, Jamis, right? And so the idea is that you're going to focus 100% on your sphere of influence and your your sphere of influence, your power 8, the people that you know, the people that love and trust you already, right? Because so many of us are so focused on creating new business by buying leads or doing this other stuff, but we can't even convert the people that love us. So stop for a minute. Stop spending that money. Don't be ridiculous. Focus on the people in front of you. They will pay you for your quality, okay? In your experience, what is the likelihood of getting an open house with someone not in your company? Matt, actually, it's pretty good. I've always had good opportunity with that coming up in the industry. It helps you build relationships with other agents in the community as well. And when you do a good job for them, it's a big win. Sometimes they'll say, hey, listen, if you get a buyer, I want a referral fee for it, for letting you do an open house at my listing. I'm cool with that too. If a buyer comes in and that buyer either buys that property or something else, and they get a little 25% referral for allowing you the opportunity to do it, by all means, that's a win-win, right? So that works. It works. You know, you won't be able to market, like you're not going to be able to put your company stuff everywhere all over this like Sotheby's agents listing, but obviously you'll be able to host an open house there and meet potential buyers. That also allows you the opportunity to knock the neighborhood the day before, let them know you're going to be hosting the open house, communicate with the community. Like that's the real win of the open house. Like when you talk about the VA, omnipresent, love it. Dude, this is great info. Thank you. Appreciate that. Customers have kids that grow up and need to buy a house eventually, become a part of their family. It's true. 1970 Camaro SS. I got you. Where's Carrie? Is Carrie still in? Carrie.
Yes,
No,
I'm here.
you are? So what, you made a comment, you said we aren't allowed to do that anymore with new NAR rules. Which part did you mean?
Hosting an open house for an agent outside of your brokerage.
Why would that be against the rules? Just curious.
That was something that was in their policy because the thing is when you host an open house, the way that it was explained to me is when we host an open house within our brokerage, we are representing the sellers. We're not representing the buyer until we have a buyer broker sign. If you're hosting an open house for somebody outside of your brokerage, you're not representing that seller because that agreement is between the brokerage and the seller. So if you were to do that, you would have to have a buyer broker signed by everyone that attends the open house.
I'll do that too. So there's the caveat, right? Everyone that walks into the house has to sign a buyer brokerage agreement.
Yes.
Yeah. So have a master buyer brokerage agreement present with the 2 pages, and then on the last page for multiple signatures. And everyone that comes in has to write their name, phone number, and sign it.
Okay.
And you tell them, unfortunately, I can't let you into the house unless you sign this. I just can't do it.
And it
Sorry.
would just be a 1 day or
Yeah.
that.
I would actually make it 30 days. You come back to buy this house, you belong to me. Why not?
Okay.
Right? So it's not that we're not allowed. We just need to adjust the way that we do it. All right. Should I do an event or meet with more than one client? So Juan, I'm not with events. Obviously, it's the widespread, right? You want to have a lot of your people there. But when you go to sit down for a cup of coffee with somebody, it's just one at a time. This is about developing the relationship with that person. You don't want to mix it 2-3 people and look like you're trying to, dominate the coffee shop by having multiple meetings with multiple people, right? All right, guys, so I'm going to let you guys go. I kept you longer than I should have. It's 12:13. We went an hour and 15 minutes. What a win. Hope you guys pulled a lot from this today. We'll make sure that you guys get the text messages and email with the link to this. And that link leads to having this on YouTube. So it'll be there live forever. Please feel free to register on my YouTube. If you're in the Texas area, next week, Thursday, I'm going to be hosting Tom Ferry. He's going to be my keynote speaker in San Antonio, Texas. I would love to have you there. So we'll message us back when you receive that text message. We'll send you the link and everything so you can jump on that. All right, folks.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome, Imar. Have a great day, guys. And, take action. See y'all soon.